Hello everybody, my name is Jonathan ASHER. I'm the CATIA Construction Portfolio Director. I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about what's new in CATIA on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform in 21x and the recent FD releases. A little reminder that CATIA's motto is to shape the world we live in, and this is extremely relevant for the construction cities and territories industries. A reminder of our value proposition in this industry. We bring four major contributors and four major game changers to this industry. One is smart, having a systems engineering based approach. One is modular, being a modular template based solution that brings new and innovative ways of working within this industry. Generative, taking advantage of our latest generative modeling applications and solutions. And continuous, bridging levels of development, levels of detail from concept to detailed design. CATIA is there to transition from each phase of the project in a continuous and systemic way. With a look at the larger solution set for the CCT industry within which we play, CATIA contributes industry processes to these three industry solutions. We see building design for fabrication, civil infrastructure engineering, and integrated built environment. You heard that the building design for fabrication solution has been revamped this year. It used to be just design for fabrication, and it's been merged with the creative building design in order to simplify the offer and focus and target directly those innovative companies within the industry that are doing design for manufacturing and assembly. So the industry processes between buildings and infrastructure mirror each other quite well. There's building design and engineering, mirrored with civil infrastructure design, building structures engineering, mirrored to the civil structures engineering, and then building systems engineering, which is very similar to the civil systems engineering process. On the integrated built environment, we have one process, the built environment review, and that is focused primarily on integrating models into the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, and then running a collaborative review scenario, clash detection, and coordination activities. The 21x portfolio has changed radically from 20x, and what I'd like to focus on a little bit is the new roles that have been released on 21x. They have been around since April of 2020. So I hope most of you have familiarized yourself with these new roles. The newest being the Computational Designer for construction. That's probably one of the roles I'm most excited about because it's an industry-specific role focused on generative design and the generative modeling application that was released not long ago on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. Also new to the portfolio is the entire discipline for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineering. In the past, we had roles that were focused on doing the systems engineering and systems design, but they weren't dedicated to the CCT portfolio. In 21x, we now have roles dedicated for CCT, and what that means is it's the same applications, the same base applications. However, those roles have been enriched with terrain and geolocation and all of the importers that you would get with the other roles for IFC, for Revit, for Rhino, for OBJ, Collada, etc. And then we have the collaborative review roles, one of those being the building and civil model coordinator and the building and civil presenter. And so these roles are a comprehensive set of applications that allow most players within a design and engineering firm working on a construction project to do their scope of work and execute their scope of work to the highest level of excellence. A look at the matrix of these roles. Again, some of them are focused on design, some of them are focused on engineering, and the big difference in the 21x roles is that we've included the template designer capabilities, old KDI, so the previous 20x and before, the KDI role and applications has been included in all of the roles that end in the word engineer. So building design engineer, building structures engineer, building and civil 3D electrical engineer, building and civil 3D fluid engineer, and civil engineer all contain or all include capabilities to create engineering templates, to write knowledge patterns, to create rules, actions, reactions, and that is a very welcome addition to the roles, because now we're not adding complexity to an offer where you need to go out and actually purchase an additional role to get the scripting and advanced parametric design and generative design capabilities. In addition to that, you see we have the Computational Designer for construction that's split across buildings and infrastructure because it's applicable to both of them. And then the design roles, which is the building designer, building and civil 3D MEP designer, and civil designer. Another thing to note between the building designer and the building design engineer and the civil designer and the civil engineer is that they are essentially the exact same role, except one of them includes KDI and one of them does not. And so a lot of questions I've been getting recently with the switch for 21x on-premise is the migration path. And so I'd like to spend a little time about that because there are a few different Excel sheets out there that explain the migration path, but it's really essential, it's really critical that we look at this from a perspective of the different disciplines. So building design and engineering, civil design and engineering, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineering, and collaborative review. And then a very simple mapping of 20x to 21x, because it's not a complicated process. There are very clear migration paths to go from somebody who has civil engineer or somebody who has civil engineer with template designer. They should go directly to civil designer or civil engineer. Someone who had architectural detail designer or concept building designer should go directly to the building designer. Someone who had either of those two roles with the template designer should go to building design engineer. It's that straightforward. And then on the MEP side, 3D MEP designer is the building and civil 3D MEP designer. Fluid systems 3D designer is the building and civil 3D fluid engineer. And electrical systems 3D designer is the building and civil 3D electrical engineer. Next, if we pass on to what to sell, you should all now be very familiar with My 3DEXPERIENCE and the compass navigation through the different worlds. We have the CCT CATIA roles are a part of the industry portfolio. So we navigate through the compass, through the worlds, to go through industries, construction, cities, and territories, design for fabrication and assembly, building design for fabrication and assembly, or civil infrastructure engineering. And these are the roles then, once you drill down into that solution and that process, on what to sell for 2021. So building design and engineering process is the major process to sell in 2021. This is the role packaging for that process. Building and civil model coordinator, building and civil presenter, building designer, building design engineer, depending on the sophistication of the users, whether they need knowledgeware or not. Computational designer for construction. And then the final one, templates, optimization, and rules designer. This is an outlier. It's something that you really don't need in most cases because it's a very expensive role. It's a very generic cross-industry role. And yes, it includes KDI. It includes knowledgeware and scripting, which is included in building design engineer, for example. So if you need that capabilities, you wouldn't need this role for that. You would go for the building design engineering role. This role is there for optimization. So if you need the optimizer in CATIA, you need this role. If you do not need the optimizer and you only need EKL and knowledgeware, don't take this role. You don't need it. It's very expensive. Get one of the roles that end in engineer that include knowledgeware as a standard packaging element. Next, on the civil infrastructure side, again, we've got the solutions, civil infrastructure engineering. The main industry process and what to sell in 2021 is civil infrastructure design. And the role packaging here looks nearly identical to what we just saw in building design for fabrication because it's essentially the same roles covering similar processes in the design and engineering of infrastructure or linear infrastructure. The main difference being we have civil designer in place of building designer and civil engineer in place of building design engineer. Finally, I haven't covered much about what's new in the recent FDs, but if you have any questions or if you'd like to find out, they've all been documented on the wiki page that's released at the change of every FD, at the upgrade to every FD. So be sure to check out the link. The link is a bit cryptic up there. They're kind of hard to find, but every update that we've released or every enhancement that we've released has been documented on the wiki page for each role, for each FD. And again, follow us on YouTube. We continue to update videos on a regular basis to our YouTube channel. That's www.youtube.com/CATIA AEC. There are some good resources up there for training and for potential pre-sales activities. Don't hesitate to use that for yourself or to share it with your customers. So again, thank you very much. We've had a great year from CATIA and the CCT industry. We're doing a lot of work on the R&D side to prepare for 2022x, which will be coming out at the end of the year and beyond. So again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I thank you very much for your attention and have a fantastic 2021.